is, like I said before, all of these things to be concerned about, the powers that be in the Middle East, the powers that be elsewhere, and how it seems that, the United States' military and our economy is linked to or is dictated to. I know that in the world that we live in this stage in our civilization's game, that to say globalization is a bad thing is ridiculous. Globalization is there. Globalism and the collective of all of that, where you have certain epicenters of power around the world that dictate economy. Of course, the United States is the big military backbone of what goes on around the world. I mean, that whole globalism, that's what we're talking about, not globalization. Globalization is just a natural part of it. That's where the old saying of, well, how does that affect the price of tea in China? Everything comes together. A pencil, the pencil economy, that whole allegory too, where every part of the pencil comes from a different part of the world. The rubber, the aluminum for around, that actually fastens the rubber eraser to the pencil, the lead, the graphite itself, all that stuff. So globalization and all that, and trade, and that's just only going to get better as technology and shipping gets better. But the type of conspiracies and the kind of consolidation we're talking about, I do not put anything past any of you guys because everybody has a point of interest. Everybody has a point where they really dedicate themselves to a certain line of history, hidden history, put it all together and make their assumptions about how the world is formed and shaped. What I'm saying is, despite all of that, which is very interesting and very compelling in the way that people who have already progressed to the point where they can actually process that information and see how it's working out there, the average person can't do that. Like I said this about QAnon a couple of weeks ago, the average person can't process that Planned Parenthood is haggling over the price of baby body parts, even when they are given video of them doing it. They go back and they say, and they rely on their political biases to say, oh yeah, well, the way that they got that video was illegal. Or the DNC leaks. DNC, the whole Democrat Party, and the fact that the primaries were completely rigged for Hillary Clinton, the only rigged election that went on in 2016, all of the evidence was right there. And people said, well, the Russians took that information and they gave it to WikiLeaks. I said, okay, first of all, no. But second of all, does that mean that everything that we were shown is fake? There's something else going on there. That's why I say heads need to be expanded. They can't do that shit. So instead of trying to sell people on a global Illuminati central banking conspiracy that entangles our own country, our own military, and our own Congress, and our deep state, our senior officials in our agencies and stuff like that, our departments, our federal departments, instead of going and trying to sell that, I know it's out there, and I know you guys are going to come in and put that layer on top of it. And some nights we dip into that too because it's fun. And because I want to be able to go to those dark places and really, feel around with it. But other than that, there's no way we're going to ever overcome that by being anonymous bloggers on the internet. If you think that the people on message boards around the internet who follow the Rothschilds and central banking and all that stuff and Israel and Zionism, they follow it and they diagnose the world's problem through that lens, are ever going to win that war through their little anonymous means when the rest of the world, the vast majority, 90% of the world, can't even process a video that has been given to them by Project Veritas and seeing the validity in it because of their own political biases and their detachment from what liberty is and self-governance is? There's no fucking chance. So why are we going to overwhelm ourselves and wring our hands about what the real problem is? It's only going to continue to upset us until we continue to chip away at the base of the pyramid. It's only going to continue upset. You have to actually accept. It's almost that mentality of, I had a couple of vets tell me, about their experiences in war zones and whatnot. And I've heard this from a lot of people. I've heard it from documentaries that the best thing that you can do is go into this situation and tell yourself that you're already dead. And get away from the fear of being injured, get away from the fear of being hurt, and you just have to go and just do what you have to do. So if anybody thought that we're going to be able to take down something as big and all-encompassing as a centuries-old cabal of people who want to enslave the entire planet within a couple of years because we are able to pull off a miraculous election of Donald Trump, who has done things that tells me that he might be in a viper's nest. He might be swimming in shark-infested waters, and he might be just as human as anybody else to be very subtly manipulated into doing things that maybe we would not approve of. But that there are things that he is doing that tells me that he is not out there being a secret agent for some other government. He might be easily manipulated, but I do not believe he is acting in the worst interests of the United States for some other sick plot. I do not believe that at all. Not to say that the sick plot does not exist. I'm just saying that the level of complicity of this one man who will be in and out while everybody else who is complicit and has been there forever is still there. Okay, let's take some more calls. See, that's why calls are great.